This one song explains capitalism better than 100 lectures. It's called Businessman's Song of the Commodity by Bertolt Brecht. The first two stanzas show how the businessman exploits people's desperate needs, using demand and supply like tools for profit. Clear, sharp, straight to the point. But the third stanza, that's where Brecht's genius really shines. The verses look simple, but inside them are layers of Marx's whole critique of capitalism. So, let's break it down line by line. The businessman is speaking in this stanza, and his words are cruel. He looks at people and says, they eat too much, they cost too much, they are too many. He doesn't see people as human beings. He sees them as numbers on a balance sheet. In Capital, Marx explains why the businessman thinks this way. He writes, the ability to work or labor power is itself a commodity. Like every other commodity, it has a value. And how is that value set? Marx says, the value of labor power is determined by the labor time necessary for the production and consequently the reproduction of this specific article. In plain words, the worker sells his ability to work, just like rice or cotton. To keep this ability alive, he must eat, rest, and clothe himself. The cost of these needs sets the wage. That's why the businessman growls. A man needs too much food. That makes men expensive for me. But then comes this strange line. Those who eat make it cheaper for me. What does that mean? It sounds odd, but here's Brecht's trick. The businessman is not talking about food prices anymore. He's talking about wages. When too many men need food, when too many compete for work, wages drop. The surplus of hungry workers makes their labor power cheaper to buy. Marx described this in Capital, Volume 1, Chapter 25. Greater the social wealth, greater is the industrial reserve army. More extensive, finally, the relative surplus population, the more consolidated is the absolute domination of capital. This is the reserve army of labor. Too many workers chasing too few jobs. Their hunger makes them desperate, and desperation makes them cheap. That's why the businessman says, those who eat make it cheaper for me. So Brecht's stanza twists the knife. The businessman says, what after all is man? Do I know what a man is? I know only his price. Here the mask drops. For Capital, a man is not a man. He is not Ali or Sarah or John. He is labor power, a commodity to be bought and sold. His humanity vanishes. Only his price remains. Think of it this way. Imagine a factory owner. He doesn't see workers with desires, needs, stories and dreams. He sees them like shoes in a store. Each has a cost. Each can be bought. If there are too many shoes, the price falls. If there are too many workers, their wage falls. That is the cold arithmetic Brecht puts into song and Marx into theory. This stanza is the most brutal of all. It shows how capitalism can look at a man, strip away his life, his needs, and reduce him to a number. Not what is man, but what is his price. That is why Brecht's simple verse has so many layers, and that is why Marx's critique still burns today.